Hi there, I am Sheila Kennedy of the Zebra Inc., and I am here today for the next episode of Meet the Author. And I have a very special author with me today, and his name is Gary Friedman, and he has just released the book Stones and Glass Houses. And I would love to welcome you. Welcome, Gary.
Well, thank you, Sheila. Glad to be here.
Well, I would love it if you would share a little bit about what Stones and Glass Houses is all about.
Well, let me start by showing it to you here, and
Yes.
hope you can, if I can get the
Love
camera.
it.
There we go. That's the cover. That's the book.
Okay.
Um,
Almost like we have a bird's eye view into something that we should see.
there you go. It's my fourth book, and it takes place on the streets of Western New York, and we find the characters in this book, which is what stands out in this book, is getting to know the characters. And although they face some extreme and provocative situations, there's also an opportunity for them to learn some lessons from the misfortunes that they go through at the beginning of the book.
I love that. I love that. Now, there's a little bit of intrigue for sure. I think provocative is an excellent way to describe this book. This is definitely a scenario that most people will never experience. I can say with utmost certainty.
So.
And it was definitely a page turner. It was definitely one of those books that you just wanted to find out what was going to happen next. And then you blew it out of the water, Gary, and you totally gave us an ending that no one expected.
Well, yeah, and that ending didn't exist when I started writing the book. It just kind of flowed into that. It became part of the end. So,
well, tell me a little bit about why you did write the book. How did you start the book?
Well, this idea for the story, this is my fourth novel, and I had this idea in my head for a while during the writing of the third book. And when I finally got around to starting the next book, there was no doubt where I was going to go with it. And it was just it's an interesting layout in the way it's done. It's done there's 8 major characters in the book, and the story is told from the point of view of each character. And that was fun, trying to be the voice of 8 different people. But I think that I wanted to tell a story of intrigue and a story that still can teach people some lessons along the way. And it was fun getting to know these characters as I wrote them.
That's awesome.
It was a kick.
Have you found that you identify with any of these characters?
You know, there are times when I read the book, I think it's funny that as many times as I've read it, I still get chills in certain points. But I think when you get to know the character Will, I think you'll find a character that probably is closest to my heart, who was faced with a terrible decision and probably made the wrong one, but made it with conviction. And at the end, never regretted his choices. So I guess I kind of identify with him a little bit.
All right, all right. So Gary, I know that you've gotten some great feedback from readers, and I would love it if you would share some of that feedback and what it meant to you.
Well, the first one comes from Althea Lorison, who's one of the leaders in the Buffalo community. And she read the book and came back with this review and said, make sure you have a cleared schedule when you start this novel. It keeps you turning the pages and surprises you with an end that you won't see coming. Written in the style similar to Leanne Moriarty, a must read. And then another individual who I know kind of not quite as well as Althea, who's an actress in New York City, ended up with a copy of the book. And she said, with a pinch of intrigue helping to turn pages, Friedman personifies humanity in this clever and thought-sparking tale of the grave consequences of truth and lies. So I love those two reviews, and from 2 different perspectives, but 2 ladies whose opinion I really respect.
Nice, nice. Well, they're right on, and I agree. I know the book intimately, and I can say, that with utmost certainty, and I certainly would second both of their opinions. It is definitely a page turner. But it also really allows you to see that there are choices in how we react to certain situations. And it's powerful the way that the characters ended up reacting. It totally took me by surprise. So that's awesome. Thank you. I would love it if you would share with us, you are obviously a writer, and this is something that takes up a lot of your time. But what are the other things that you do with your time when you're not writing?
Well, I have been retired now for about 18 months, and you never really know going into retirement after working your whole life how that's going to go. But I've actually found myself busier now in retirement than I was when I was working. I've been fortunate enough to end up on the board of directors of a couple different not-for-profits, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that and meeting new people, and still doing things that make a difference. And that's kind of been my goal for writing, is to make a difference in people's lives, have them read my story and think, shake their head and say, yeah, I could see, or I could see myself there, or yeah, maybe I should do that. So um, it's just the way I've lived my life, and it's kept me busy. Say that.
I love it. Well, you know what? Tell us a little bit about the first three books that you wrote,
Okay,
if you don't mind.
not at all. They're hiding over there over my shoulder.
Love it.
They are. I wrote a trilogy under the name of the Shepherd Chronicles. I grew up loving journey books, Lord of the Rings and such, and I wanted to write a journey. Although I didn't expect it to end up in three books, it kind of started as a book and kept going. The journey didn't want to end, and it's a story of David and how he um, unexpectedly finds himself on the road, meeting people along the way as he traveled, and changing lives for each life that he touched, and in the process founding his own life and found his own existence. It's a book that teaches us that the true power, the true identity of a man or a woman isn't the size of their house, it's the number of lives they touch in a positive way, the number of people they lift up. And that's what David did, and that's what I try to do every day.
Well, and I think you do that well. And I hope that you continue to keep writing, because you are touching lives that way. And I think you are making an impact, and you do inspire thought, right? And introspection.
The
Uh,
goal.
and then also action. I think that it's you do have a call to action. It's what can you do with what you just learned about yourself, and that's really important. But there is a difference between Stones and Glass Houses and the trilogy, correct? They're not one and the same. They're not the same series.
Now the trilogy ends after the third book, Crossroads,
Mm-hmm.
and then Stones and Glass House is a whole new set of characters, a whole new plot line.
Yeah.
A lot of it's still taking place in the streets of Buffalo,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still a whole different version of life and teaching some different lessons, and valuable just the same.
Okay. And are we going to look forward to a second Stones and Glass Houses?
Um, Only one character will probably carry forward for the next book. It'll be another story of intrigue, I hope, and a little bit of murder mixed in and things of that nature. But
Ooh,
um, the lead character, the identity of humanity, will carry forward.
nice. All right. Gary, tell us how you can connect with your readers, or how your readers can connect with you. So, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I have a website,
Mm-hmm.
GaryFriedmanBooks.com. And although there's not a lot of opportunity to interact on there, you can email me through that website. And besides a place to buy my books, there's 23 different blogs that I've posted on my webpage that I hope people would get a chance to enjoy. But in terms of interaction, I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy social media as well. I'm on Twitter, and I have my own Facebook page for the books, as well as my own Facebook page, where it's a little more intimate and a chance to communicate with people and discuss things with people. So I've enjoyed that. Both sites have a value, but they're totally different values.
And I would assume that you are available for book clubs, virtual or in person.
I would come out to any book club. I get special discounts to book clubs if they want to purchase books in quantity. Speaking opportunities to come out in front of groups of 8 people, or groups of 80, or groups of 800, doesn't matter.
Nice.
I love to share the stories of where these books are coming from and the sort of ministry that follows them.
Nice. I love it. Well, Gary, thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to leave your readers with before we sign off today?
Read. Um, it's a way of, especially at a time when things are difficult, to exist and experience lives through other people and live vicariously through your characters. And hopefully in that process of reading, they'll find my books along the way.
Love it. Well, they would definitely be, it would be to their advantage if they do so. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. Author Gary Friedman, his latest book, his latest novel, Stones and Glass Houses, is available on Amazon. You can also pick that up on Gary's website, as he said, garyfriedmanbooks.com. And we will be in touch for the next episode of Meet the Author very soon. And thank you again, and bye for now.